Developing news, the Atlanta Falcons are set to release quarterback Kirk Cousins. Wow. Lord have mercy. What a development in Atlanta. My, oh my. I mean, you talk about one of the worst free agent signings maybe ever, certainly in Falcons history. Just a disgusting, despicable situation for Falcons fans. We're going to cover it here today. Happy Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching this on a Saturday, I'm filming this on a Saturday. Multiple college football playoff games, multiple NFL games, betting the horses, the fairgrounds all day. Beautiful day, but I had to pop in and just I had to talk about this. Now, right off the rip, let me just say this. How many times have I said the salary cap is fugazi? How many times have I said, don't worry about these contracts, don't worry about the guaranteed money, don't worry about the dead cap, don't worry about this. It's all going to play out. Like teams, they do this stuff, they restructure contracts, money goes in, money goes out. No team has ever been stopped on Sunday when they got off the plane and they said, hey, by the way, your bill is due, you can't play today. It doesn't happen. And this is another example. Kirk Cousins was signed to a $180 million contract with $100 million guaranteed. And he is benched/cut 14 games into that. So I don't want to hear any more of this like, well, you know, the cap, the dead cap this, and you can't, you know, you got to play him and you got to see out the contract and you can't take this kind of hit. LOL. The Atlanta Falcons are about to take a $65 million dead cap hit to the face and then say, can I have some more? And take a $40 million hit right after that. Oh, but if they release him, then I believe they can save like $10 million in 2026. So, yikes.
In the future.
Huge implications here.
Sure.
So the teams I've talked to around the league do expect that Kirk Cousins will be in a new uniform next year because he's due $27.5 million in guaranteed salary. Atlanta's going to have to try to get out of. $10 million roster bonus due in mid-March. That expedites things a little bit for them to try to make a decision.
Yeah, that's that is the number that they're going to carve off. So they're doing all this to save that $10 million in what I believe is a 2026 roster bonus.
Clearly, Michael Penix is the answer long-term. So it's a Russell Wilson situation all over again with Denver, where the big guaranteed money is going to take away their leverage in a trade potentially. Maybe they can pull off a trade, but if not, they might just have to release them and hope that another team pays a little bit of money to him to offset that financial complication there. Now, you have some teams that are going to need quarterbacks. I expect Cousins to have somewhat of a market because you look at the top 10 teams picking in the.
Will he though? Like, I mean, I'm sure he'll find a home, but I don't think he's going to be some like super desirable free agent. I mean, he may find a team, but I mean, I'm not sure what you could have seen that you'd be like, we need to go sign Kirk Cousins. Yeah. We need to go ahead and do this. And Fowler said, and this part is interesting because he mentioned clearly Michael Penix is the future. Clearly Michael Penix is starting, but you can't say he's clearly the future. We don't know anything about Michael Penix Jr. We haven't seen him do nothing. There's a good chance, or a non-zero chance, that he could come out there and be complete ass. And what do the Falcons do then? I mean, you're talking about, I mean, this is a relative unknown. Well, it's a literal unknown with Penix. I mean, we have no clue how he's going to perform. I hope he performs well. I like Penix, I liked him in college, but I mean, like the Falcons could be in. We always talk about high draft picks. If Penix doesn't work out and you whiff on the Kyle Pitts pick, you whiff on the Cousins signing, which is probably the worst signing in franchise history, simultaneously you whiff on the Penix pick, I mean, this is the kind of thing right here where, you know, the franchise comes to an absolute standstill for 5, 6, 7 years.
In the NFL draft, at least 5 of them need quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Cleveland Browns, Kevin Stefanski coached Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. He was his offensive coordinator, familiar with that system. They could try to strengthen their quarterback room around Deshaun Watson. New York Giants, the expectation is they'll draft a quarterback, but they could need a strong veteran as well. So he'll be in a new uniform most likely, and he'll probably have some suitors.
All of this while the Falcons are still close to an NFC wildcard spot on the outside looking in, but they're 7-7 so far on the season with a couple regular season games left to play. Jeremy Fowler giving us the latest this morning on SportsCenter. Thanks, J-Bone.
Crazy how this stuff happens. I mean, it's just crazy. That's one thing that the NFL does now that it didn't do before, is how quick decisions can be made. Because I think before, everything was kind of like, you make your bed, you lie in it, right? You make a bad contract, you see the contract out, player plays, you get out, but now I think everything is so to the wire, so to the number, that they're looking at this like, hey, look, this is a horrible situation. We can save $7.2 million by doing this. And teams are just quick to do it. Teams are just quick to say, all right, we screwed up. Hand up, we screwed up. I mean, we've seen it recently with Trey Lance. We've seen it recently with Kirk Cousins. We've seen it recently with Russell Wilson, where teams are, Justin Fields, teams are just punting. Like, they're just saying, you know what, whatever, I'll take the loss or I'll take the hit, but we're ready to accept the decision. And the Trey Lance is as far as like a draft pick, is a really crazy one. But as far as a free agent signing, the Cousins one is nuts because, like these two hombres said, the Falcons are in the hunt. The Falcons are in contention for the NFC South, for the playoffs. They just came off of a win. Like, this isn't happening after a 42-0 loss. This is happening after a win. This is happening after they beat the Raiders. So, I mean, it's not like they had the best performance of all time, but this is not coming when the season is done. The season's done and dusted, like the Jets. They're out of contention. They can't win anything. They can't go to the playoffs. So people are saying, like, well, do you just get rid of Rodgers? Like, do you cut him? Do you release him? Do you bench him? Whatever. If they were in contention, that conversation wouldn't be happening at all. So it shows you how bad it really is that this is all happening whilst in contention and after a win. Now, I did want to give the Falcons fans a chance to sound off on this because I don't cover the Falcons. So I tried to find Falcons channels on YouTube. None of the Falcons, Locked On, Falcons, Chat Now, Falcons, whatever, none of them are reporting this. They're all just head in the sand. So respect, I guess. I mean, it's Saturday. Not everyone's working like I am. But so we're going to go through the Reddit and see what the fans say. I'm sure this will be completely sane. I'm sure this won't be insane at all. All right, here we go. Falcons expected to cut Kirk Cousins before $10 million bonus due. Now, remember, if they cut him before the bonus is due, that's whatever the guy said, March 17th. That is not in line with the post-June 1st cut, obviously. So I believe, I'm pretty sure that's what's going to lock in that $65 million dead cap hit, which would be, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I would assume that's probably the largest or one of the largest hits in NFL history. All right. We'll always have that Eagles game-winning drive and wild Thursday Night Football win against the Bucs, I guess. That month of Kirko change was glorious. Yeah, it's crazy, again, how fast it happens. It just seems like, it literally seems like a month ago, and it might actually have been a month ago, that Cousins was doing the dance or whatever with the people in the stands. No joke, those games were hyped, though, but yeah, it sucks. Those games are a mirage now. I really hope Penix can light it up so that we will feel good about these last 3 games, even if we can't make the playoffs. If we see promising play from Penix, I'll feel a lot better about the future. Let me tell you this. You better hope that you see some promising play from Michael Penix, because if Penix isn't good, there could not be any more pressure on Michael Penix. There cannot be any more pressure on him to perform. Like, they took the security blanket and see ya. They took the golden parachute. See ya. Either Penix is going to be really, really good, or the Falcons are going to be hard stuck for the next couple of years. It's a tough situation for the Falcons, and the only way out of the situation is if Michael Penix is really good. Can we see Penix first? I know he probably won't be any worse than Kirk, but there's always a chance. True, that part is true. Let's see here. What if Penix goes 0-3 and looks terrible? There could be a quarterback battle in training camp next season between Kirk and Penix. Let's see here. But that's another thing. So and that's where a lot of this like comes in, where you don't have the luxury of finding out. Like this whole quarterback battle, training camp, blah, blah, blah. The longer you wait, the more those dates happen and the more these contract, like these guaranteed and roster bonuses and all of this, all of that hits. And let's say you do have a quarterback battle in that situation. And let's say Penix ends up winning the quarterback battle. All of a sudden now you've got like a $100 million backup quarterback that you cannot get out of. Right? So you run the risk of missing these spots on the contract when you do that. Genuinely shocked he's getting the start. I thought for sure the coaching staff was going to write off the year and roll out Penix week 1 next year. Reason being, if the team sucks after the change, is almost certainly a one and done. They must have already been feeling the heat to go out on a limb like this. Sure, it's almost certain that Penix is immediately better. Is it? Is it almost certain? My brother in Christ, it can always get worse. Yeah, it can. The difference is Penix isn't 36 years old recovering from a torn Achilles. If he struggles at first, there's room for improvement. At this stage of his career, Kirk isn't getting any better. If only they knew that before the signing, right? If only they knew he was a 36-year-old recovering from a torn Achilles before they gave him $180 million with $100 million guaranteed. Let's see. Awful contract, a massive waste of money. I know people will dump this on Terry, and he could be the main figure. Terry Fontenot, I'm sure is the main figure. However, I really feel Arthur Blank was desperate for an upgrade in quarterback play, and he absolutely co-signed or led the charge on this decision to get Kirk. Similar with Blank being the guy that wanted Watson, Terry at best becomes a scapegoat for his boss wanting to see ticket sales go up after consecutive losing seasons. Giving a veteran quarterback a long-term $180 million deal and then turning around and drafting an already 24-year-old quarterback 8th overall screams disconnect in the front office. Yeah, I mean 100%. And I do agree. If you take both decisions and you put them in a vacuum, like signing Kirk, drafting Penix, the Penix signing is only a problem or it's only a mistake because of the Kirk signing or the drafting of Penix is only a mistake because of the Kirk signing. If the Kirk signing doesn't happen, drafting Penix is fine. Like drafting Penix 8 overall, all good, you know. The issue is when it's in conjunction with Cousins because, one, you sign an aging veteran quarterback and you give him a ton of money. But then you draft the oldest possible quarterback you can, and like those two do not go together. You got the oldest quarterback you can draft, but you're in a situation where he basically has to sit. Now, no one expected Cousins to be cut 14 games in, or not literally cut, but projected to be cut 14 games in. So it's kind of a moot point. But, you know, again, like if this was the plan, wouldn't you be better off with just rolling Taylor Heineke back out there and doing the exact same thing, saving yourself $180 million? You know, so, and then on the flip side, if Cousins is really good, you don't need to draft Penix because if Cousins is really good, he's going to play for 1 or 2 seasons. And then do you really want a 26-year-old quarterback at that point? Like the Penix thing is a wasted pick. So I do agree that the Cousins signing is worse than the Penix draft pick, but when put together, they're kind of equally as bad. So and then like this, like Hack Waters just said, what a name. These 3 things happening does show some tremendous disconnect in the front office. Like signing a veteran 36-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles injury, do a $180 million deal with $100 million guaranteed. Then you immediately draft a 24-year-old quarterback 8th overall. All right, that alone is disconnect. But then you throw in the 14 weeks later, you project to cut the veteran quarterback. Like all 3 of those things happening does show major disconnect in the front office. I believe Blank gave a mandate that the team have a viable chance to make a playoff run considering the amount of young, talented players on the roster. The decision to give Kirk a 2-year deal would have meant he's definitely the starter this year, and depending on if Penix won the job in his second year, they would have then had a super expensive backup, but also a backup who can win games. Yeah, I mean, this is just hopium. This is hopium copium right here, 100%. Like this mandate that the team have a viable chance to make a playoff run, that's every team. Every team starts the season with a mandate that the team have a viable chance to make a playoff run. Every team. And the Falcons right now have a viable chance to make a playoff run. But they're making the change anyways. We are an absolute joke of a franchise. There's no way Terry should walk away from this with his job. Man, I can't stress this enough. I wasn't a fan of the hire, and it hasn't been long, thankfully, that he's been with us. But holy hell, this guy can't build a contender or find diamonds in the rough. I'm just an armchair quarterback like the rest of us, but I'm tired of being right about this and that move compared to the GM that get paid life-changing money and is supposed to be better than me and other armchair GMs in making this and that move. It's like he sees a bet that says plus 800 odds and can't get over the payout from it, even though all signs are saying don't do it. Let's see here. We very well may, but I'm not buying into this report with 3 months to go before they've seen Penix in action and if Kirk is truly injured. Yeah, this is happening. Like, no, this is real. This is happening, brother. Like, I mean, again, the hopium, the copium. This is. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Dalai Lama, but this is this is happening, brother. Like, he's getting cut. So. We are a clown show of an organization. Throw a bag at Kirk without even fully verifying whether he can actually move around. Then look to cut him before the season ends, and our rookie hasn't even played it down yet. Unreal. Oof. Yeah, it's so bad, man. So bad. Ay caramba. Yeesh. Walk into your trap, rob your trap, leave your trap. Yeah, Kirk Cousins walked into the Falcons facility, robbed them, and left them. If the Falcons do cut Cousins, does it make him the worst free agent signings in franchise history? Franchise history, this is one of the worst free agent signings in NFL history. Yeah. Kind of crazy. Here we go. Not an NFL cap expert, but Army essentially out of the contract at the end of next year as far as payroll cap. So it's essentially was only a 1 to 2 year wait instead of a super long term one that drags on. Yeah, I think it was always I believe it was always like a 2-year deal. Structured like that. I don't think it was ever structured as like a super long-term situation. You're just going to take the 2 hits. Like you're going to take the 60 million, 40 million, and then be done with it, I guess. Crazy, man. Crazy. Yeah, brutal. All right, there you go. I don't see why everyone is saying what a huge waste of money and Terry needs to be fired. We all wanted this when he was signed. He was playing great last year before his injury. Hell, he was playing pretty damn good the first half of this year. And it looks like Terry and Raheem made the right draft pick after all. I haven't seen him play at all. Well, given that Penix isn't a bust. Yeah, there you go. I don't know if I would cut Kirk. Penix could get hurt. He's already torn both ACLs once. We already had to pay Kirk regardless. Why not keep him as a backup? He could still mentor Penix and teach him how to play and prepare like a pro. Or like I said, Penix could get hurt. Eesh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Tough scenes for the Falcons. Hate it for them. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Does this make you, is this evidence? Is this more evidence that salary cap doesn't matter? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next